Arabs, what we would call Arabs. And later on, by the way, Ishmael's descendants do marry some of Esau's descendants in the biblical genealogies if you look at them closely. But the real big guy is Jacob, third down on the genealogy. What happens to him? He gets involved with God too, and he changes his name, doesn't he? What new name does God give him after he chooses him as his preferred person in the storyline? What new name does he give him? Israel. Jacob is renamed Israel. That's where all the trouble in the Middle East, in case you're interested. Where does it all come from? It's biblical Jacob being renamed Israel. And therefore you get the 12. How many children does Jacob then have in the Bible from 4 different wives? And you get all those stories. How many have read those great sexy stories about putting handmaidens in the bed because the one woman leaves off and then the other sister isn't getting enough children, so she puts her handmaiden in the bed, and then you know, because the children of the handmaidens are considered to be the children of the sisters. Yeah, what do you want to say?
I was wondering, isn't one of his handmaids or wives is Rachel or something?
That's not his handmaid, that's his wife. That's the wife he loves. Leah and Rachel are the two, one older sister, younger sister, and he really wants Rachel if you want to get the whole story. And why don't you just read Genesis and then you'll get it. But it's all in there. He really loves Rachel because she's pretty, likes the younger, but the dad says you can't have the younger before the older. And the dad slips in Leah, who's uglier, into his bed when the marriage night comes. And Jacob comes and says, what did you do? You cheated me. I was supposed to get Rachel and you gave me Leah. He said, you got to work 7 more years for Rachel. You got to work 7 years for Leah and then 7 more for Rachel. So he said, okay, I'll take them both. But then we have all the problem of they're competing with each other. This is the Bible. It's pretty not raunchy, pretty, how do we put it? Pretty down to, pretty earthy. And I think that's attractive. These people are not perfect, what I'm saying. So then they compete with each other and they have trouble bearing. So then Rachel slips in. There's always trouble bearing. Rachel can't bear. And finally she bears Joseph in the end. Benjamin and Joseph, the 2 preferred children of Jacob. But she has trouble just like Sarah does. So that's part of the biblical scheme. But in the meantime, they're all competing like mad to get these children out. And the handmaidens are Bilhah and someone else. I forget the other one. But how many children then finally become the children of Jacob in the story from the 4 bearers? 2 official wives and 2 handmaidens. 12. And what do we call those when it changes its name to Israel? The 12 tribes of Israel. So that's the genealogy of the 12 tribes of Israel. All the children from that marriage as it's presented. I'm not saying this is history. Don't any of you think that I'm trying to be fair here. I'm just telling you the story. I'm not making any claims that this is divine, that this is an angel said it, that this is true, or this is colorful storytelling to explain genealogical origins. There's no, catechism or official dogma about this, that this is, pure truth or something like that. It's an attempt by the ancient people to portray in a colorful way for the entertainment of their people of their time, not necessarily ours, how we got where we are. And it may have mythology, it may have, tall tales, it may have accurate history in there. That's something for you to decide. In any event, Ishmael also has 12 sons. And he has 12 tribes given to him according to the genealogies. They don't go into what happened to all these tribes. And Esau, he has 12 sons. Well, hey, we got a problem here. Everyone's getting 12 sons. Why? Well, if you look into Greek culture, you'll find that they have what's called a 12-tribe confederacy in the Greek mainland back in the ancient times. And one of the reasons they had a 12-tribe confederacy was for tax purposes. So each tribe could pay 1 month of taxes in the 12-month scheme of the year. So I think there's a lot of that involved in these 12-tribe storytelling that go back. But okay, forget Ishmael, forget Esau, forget Jacob. Let's go to the Arab hero, Ishmael. Ishmael, we can tell from his children that he's mainly centered in the Sinai Peninsula. Just as Jacob is mainly centered in the Transjordan area. southern Transjordan, going down the Red Sea. Ishmael is mainly, according to the Hebrew genealogists, and that's 15 centuries before the Quran, mainly centered in Sinai because, you know, he has some tribes that we know are Sinai. Midian, for instance, is one of them. Later on, by the way, Moses gets involved with a priest of Midian, as you may recall, and marries one of the priests of Midian's daughters. So he does marry an Ishmaelite, as it turns out. But even in the Joseph stories in the Bible, there are Ishmaelite merchants and there are Midianite merchants, and basically they're interchangeable. And Midian is Sinai, So, I mean, these things are pretty, you can pretty much go. Now, according to the way the Quran gets a hold of this material many centuries later, as Muhammad through the angel presents it, we are the descendants of Ishmael. Ishmael is our father. Therefore, our relationship to Abraham is as good as any other people's. And we are actually somewhat better because Ishmael is the older son and Isaac is the younger son. So actually we have a prior claim to some extent. And we have as much claim as anyone else to the heritage of Abraham. And as the Quran expresses this, the religion of Abraham. And as Muhammad will, or the Quran will, and we'll read this, go on to discuss it, the Jews and Christians have corrupted the heritage and tradition of Abraham through various lies and other things. And what we're doing in the Quran is restoring the primitive purity of the original monotheism of Abraham. We, the descendants of Ishmael, are restoring the original purity of the religion of Abraham, and the name of that religion is Islam. Abraham's original religion is Islam, and we have restored it to its original purity, which the Jews and Christians, in their turn, corrupted. And this is basically the theological argument that we'll get in the Quran. I will read it to you. Out of this came the idea that all Arabs are descendants of Ishmael, which gets back to where I started last time. You see how complicated it is. You see, as I told you, I think if you take genealogical DNA tests, you probably are going to find much different results than that. I think you'll find some Greek blood running around. I think you'll find a lot of Egyptian blood running around. I think you'll find a lot of African blood running around. I think you'll find a lot of Berber blood running around. But you see, the myth takes over. The myth takes over the reality, because the reality is much too complex for people. You follow what I'm trying to say? Much too complex for, now that we have the tools, we can